Hey everybody. So I know it's been a while since I did a video on this coupe I just bought, but here we go. I've done a lot of work on it, and I put the whole front end back on it. This is the actual 37 front end that was on it when he drag raced it back in 1956. And there's where he cut out for the fender well headers when he had the Hemi in here and all that sort of stuff. And this is the original hood that he ran. You can see the pictures, but there's the louvers. And the only thing he didn't run was these side panels. But he ran that, and that's the grill that he ran right there. That's the front bumper. And that bumper is made out of, that round part is stainless. And then if you look on the side, he's got holes on each side. And that was for this tow bar that he pulled the car with. That's a 1950s manufactured tow bar. And I looked, there's a name on it and all that, but I forget right now. And that's what he towed it to Milan Dragway. He towed it up to, I don't know for sure on Detroit Dragway, but I'll bet you if he went to Milan, he went to Detroit Dragway. And then in 1960, which was his last year, Metcalf Field in Toledo House, it's Metcalf Airport now, and it was then, but they opened up Metcalf Field for drag racing. And I suspect that he went there too with this car, with this Hemi. And then 1961, he went into service. It might have been late 60, I'm not sure. And then he got married. And Rob Jr., that owned this car when his dad passed away, he was born in France in shortly after they got married. And he was, Bob Sr. was over in France in the military. He fueled planes is what his job was. And because Rob, was his first son, he got named Junior. So, but anyways, I've done a lot of work on this car. I took the wide white wall. I took the whole front setup off. Now I still have the original axle, and I changed the spring out because the spring had 12 leaves in it. You could get on that bumper right there, two people, and they couldn't move the car. Now I can move it. So I had a Posey front end, and so I put it's got disc brakes, it's got 4 3/4 lug pattern, and it all fit on the round back spindles, which is this car here, the first year for round backs was in 37. So this car had the round back spindle, so I put the hubs on, the disc brake brackets, and the calipers and all that stuff, and it all fit right on. So now it's 4 3/4 up front, and 15x7 rims fit that, so that's doing good. And then in the rear, I'll go on the other side here. In the rear, I took out that Ford 8-inch rear end, and I put a 12 bolt in it. I put a 70 Nova 12 bolt because this has chassis engineering suspension on the rear, and I mean it really fits good. Look how those tires are centered in the wheel wells. And that's a 70 Nova. It bolted right in. I didn't have to do anything. I will take pictures of all this stuff, and it'll be at the end of this video. And right now I'm dealing with the shocks. I had to order some shocks today. I got shocks. I don't see them. I forget what I did with them. I had 2 shocks. I got the brackets made, and they bolt right on the plates that came with this chassis engineering suspension. And so I get those tomorrow at noon. So then I'll have the shocks on it, and the running boards are back on it. These are the original running boards that he took off, and because they got a little bit of burgundy paint on them. And I've done a lot of work on this car, and it's really starting to come together. And I found out too, this car had hydraulic brakes on it. It has a 40 pedal setup in it for hydraulic brakes. So I can put a master cylinder on it and do a couple other things. And we can have the hydraulic disc brakes on the front, I'm going to put a distribution block in it, and I'm going to put a proportioning valve in it. And if I go with the brake booster that's underneath, like the originals were, I have to put these other valves in it too. Daryl Swanson was telling me about that, because the master cylinder will be lower than the calipers, and therefore they'll leak back in. So there's a deal there you got to do. But the old coupe, she's coming along. I really like this car. This car, I will never sell it. I can just tell you right now, it's never going to be sold. Even when I pass, one of my sons will take it, and I think it'll be Nate. And it might be Andrew too. They might both want it. I don't know. And I also, now I've made my choice on the engines. I'm not going to put a Hemi in it, because that Hemi engine's almost 1,100 pounds dressed. With the transmission, it might even be closer to 1,200. So this car was never designed for that. And, you know, I just am not going to do it. So I found a 327 up in Sandusky at Griff's Engine and Machine. You can look it up on the internet. He's got 2 Marine 327s, and he's going to sell me one of them. And I'm going to put a 327 in it. And then my brother-in-law, Dan, from Dan's Transmissions, he was in Norwalk, but now he lives in Belleville, Ohio. But anyways, he built me this Turbo 400 right here. And I'm going to put this behind that 327. And see, this car's set up for small block right now. It's got the transmission mount. It's all set up. I'll get the hood back up. See, there's the mount. If you look back in there, I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a transmission mount back there. He had this set up to put small block in it. And that's the engine that was going to go in it. And I think with a 4-speed. And I've got the 4-speed sitting over here that he was going to put in this car. I got the 4-speed and the shifter. It's a T10. It's a 1963 tranny, and it's a 7D code on it. I don't know what that means. I've never looked it up. But this is a nice transmission too. Nothing wrong with it. So I've got that too. And I don't think I'm going to put a 4-speed in it. I don't want to deal with the clutch pedals. Of course, I can put a juice clutch pedal in it, but I want to just cruise and enjoy the car, not be shifting every stoplight, you know. I had 4-speeds for probably for 40 years at least. I had 4-speeds, and I'm just tired of them. I'm an automatic guy. So, anyways, I think that's about it for this one. It's going on 9 minutes. So, but this is a fantastic car. I'm gonna tell you what, the doors, the trunk, everything has such good gaps on it too. And this car is all original body. It's just crazy. Look at the gaps. You know, it's got some really good gaps on it for an 86-year-old car. Look at this door. I mean, you can't beat that for an 86-year-old car. And it's all original body, all the doors, everything. And it even has the original. Now, here's another thing. The steering gearbox, it doesn't have any play in it. I mean, that's all the farther it moves right there. That's it. And that ain't very much. That's about, almost new cars have that much. So I don't have to change the steering in this at all. You know. There's that transmission mount right there. You can see it right there, those 2 holes right there. Yep. But that's the transmission mount. There's a set of headers I got with it too. And this still has the emergency brake in it too. So, and I put the dash in it too. Now I've got several dash choices. I've got a custom dash that they took, and all this right here, they took it out and they plated it flat. And they just left the two holes right here, and there's another one right there. So they did that. So, and then I got two steering wheels. Oh, I'm just telling you, this car is just, it's amazing. It's all original body. There's no rust, no patches. Still has the original seat. It has the original shelf in it too. See there? It still has the original shelf in it. Right here. Right there's the original shelf that this car came with. It still has the original headliner in it. You know, of course, it's all got to be changed, but I'll tell you what, this is a nice car, and I got a lot of stuff. I think I got all the rubber for it, but look right here, that rubber stop. You don't see those on these old cars. They're never there. And this one, it's not going to come off, you know. And here's another one right there. You just don't see that kind of stuff on these old cars. You just don't see it. And like I said, look how easy that door closes. You gotta hold the handle because it's a funky latch, and if you don't hold the handle, it just wants to bounce. But you can look at the gaps on this car. I've looked this car over. I've been under it, in it, all over it, and even the hood has nice gaps to it. You know, it's a phenomenal car. And it's got NOS fenders on the rear. Now, another thing, we bought these hubcaps for my wife's 37 pickup, and then she decided to sell it. So, let me know what you think about those on the car, because I think they look pretty good because they're unusual. They have no logo on them, and they're really cool looking hubcaps. So, anyways, I think that's all for now. I'm going to take pictures and show you all the work I did, like the disc brakes and the rear end and all that. So, all right, have a good one. Please subscribe, and talk at you later.